Welcome back to Developers Garage. I'm your host, Ryan Overton. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, maybe yours, and definitely one that makes your manager squirm in their chair a little bit. That's right, we're talking about DevOps. Well, more specifically, we're talking about the CI portion of the CI/CD pipeline within the DevOps process. If you've got any thoughts or opinions on DevOps, continuous integration, or any other step in the process, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear them and talk about it. Also, if this video resonates with you, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that alert button because we've got more great content on the way. So let's get to it. Before we begin, let's recap what is DevOps. I did a video on this a few weeks ago. Oh, it has been that long. Link to it's up here if you want to go watch that. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a little short description of what DevOps is. Now, Donovan Brown said it best, and I'm going to read this because I don't want to get this wrong. DevOps is the union of people, process, and products to enable continuous delivery of value to our end users. Now, as technology professionals, we sometimes get lost in the technical side of it, the tools and everything we use, and put more focus and value in those tools and technologies than we do on what we really need to. What Donovan highlighted, that's value to our end users. And so that's where the DevOps process and this, what we're talking about today, continuous integration, is going to come in greatly. It's automating those tedious things, those things that keep us from getting that value to our end users. So the tools you use in your DevOps process could be an all-in-one platform like Microsoft Azure, Amazon's AWS, or the Google Cloud Platform. Or it could be a mix of some other tool sets that you might be more familiar with, like Trello for task tracking, Octopus Deploy for building and deploying the solution. It's right there in the name, right? And Netlify for hosting your application. Our goal is to automate the tedious tasks that take our focus away from our end goal, that is, delivering value to our end users. Now you might be thinking, Ryan, this is great and all for large enterprise projects, but I do deal with a lot of small clients, medium clients. They come in, they have me do a job, and then I'm gone for a little bit. Well, I'm here to tell you, DevOps isn't just for the large people. They're not out there for the big companies, the big organizations. They're for everyone. This process is going to help you work with your small clients more efficiently, because I've worked with smaller clients before, and I'm going to tell you, these tedious tasks of building, deploying, all that stuff takes a tremendous amount of time sometimes. And so that's where using pieces of this, the automation pieces, is going to come in handy for you. Like automating our build and deploy process. That's going to save you tons of time and let you focus and get more value for the money that you're getting paid. Let me give you an example. I've got a friend who does web work on the side, and he experiences this exact scenario every day when he deals with his clients. He doesn't have a lot of free time. He also doesn't want to take a lot of time away from his family. So in order to help him, he's going to implement some of these DevOps processes to eliminate that tedious piece of deploying and building his code. So he can now focus on site development and site updates and changes that the clients really want. He wants to focus on delivering that value while also maximizing his time he spends on a project. Now that we have an understanding of what DevOps is, let's move on to the creation of our continuous integration pipeline. For this site, we're going to use two services you might already be familiar with: expressJS, CircleCI, and Github. That was 3, not 2. For a demonstration, we're going to use an expressJS site because it's quick and easy to get one up and running. A link to the repo for the code is in the description below. For our continuous integration pipeline, we're going to use CircleCI. Now, I chose CircleCI for a couple of reasons. One of those being it's a cloud-hosted service, meaning there's no infrastructure for Ryan to maintain. And that is key when you're looking at stuff to automate. You don't want to have to maintain some infrastructure. So if you can have it hosted somewhere else, pay a little bit of money or find some free services like CircleCI. Also, we're using CircleCI because it's quick and easy to get going and has numerous integrations available. So I'm kind of future-proofing there. So let's head on over to the desktop and see how this is done. All right, I've gone ahead and opened up our GitHub repository here. If you want to follow along or for any future reference, the link is in the description below. Now, before we get started, we're going to go ahead and pull this up in one of my favorite code editors, that is Visual Studio Code, and take a quick look at the code base. Now, as I said earlier, this is a rather simple expressJS site. It has two files, an index and a server. The server defines basically the endpoint that we're going to be accessing. Right here we have the default endpoint, the slash, and it's just going to respond with hello world. Now, your applications may be more complicated than this, but what we're doing here is still applicable. And then our index, we're just defining the server port and giving a console log, say we're listening on this port. And we've also defined some simple tests. Those simple tests are basically validating that it returns hello world. Now, before we actually do anything, we do want to make sure this code actually runs. No smoke and mirrors here. So before we do that, you want to do an npm install. Make sure you've got all the node modules pulled down. Assuming this is your first time, it will not take very long. We don't have a lot of dependencies here, so that's the nice thing about this demo site. And once those are done, run npm start. And it's actually going to start up our node server and our Express app. As you can see, it says we're running on localhost 3001. So we'll head on over to the browser and check and make sure it works. As you can see, I've navigated to localhost port 3001, and it does in fact return our hello world. Now, like any good developers, we do write tests, right? Nod your head yes, because you should be writing tests if you're not. We want to make sure those tests actually pass. That's a key thing, right? We write tests, we need to make sure they actually pass. So let's go back to our command line, our console, stop our app from running, and let's just run npm test to make sure our tests work. It does run our tests. It does return hello endpoint. It should return the greeting, and we get our green check mark. So we are good to go. All right. Now we're ready to do a little continuous integration because we don't want to have to run all these steps every time we make a code change. We want to trust that our tests are valid, and when they pass, we believe them. They pass, right? That's why we write the tests, so we don't have to do all this manual work after the fact. So in order to do that, we're going to jump on over to the CircleCI website. Navigate on over to circleci.com. This is where you'll end up, and you want to hit this login button right here. No worries if this is your first time. As long as you have a GitHub account, you're good to go. So now that we're hosting our repository over on GitHub, we can just do this login with GitHub option. It's going to do some authentication. It's going to ask you for some username and password. I am currently logged in already, so it's got all this stuff synced up. I'm going to choose Dev's Garage because that's the organization I want to log in with. Now, when you first get to your projects page, it's going to pull in all your public repos that you have listed there. And what we want to do is we want to come in here and we want to set up a project. And then specifically, we want to set up the project for the repository we're working with. So click on Set Up Project for the Express DevOps CircleCI demo. And what CircleCI is going to do is it's going to do a little bit of analysis of your application to see, kind of get an idea of what it's running, what it's written in, and it's going to give you a basic template to use with that, the suggested template. It knows we're running an expressJS with Node, and so it suggested a Node template. Now, if you're running a different kind of application, Android, Clojure, Elixir, Go, Hello World is your default if you don't know what it's written in or haven't written anything yet. You're actually starting with your CI pipeline, which kudos to you if you're doing that. It gives you a basic one to start with. All the way down to Ruby, C#, Swift, Objective-C. It's got you covered, my friends. And I forgot to say .NET. I'm a .NET guy, so this is very important to me that it's going to work for my .NET stuff. If you've worked with any of the other larger providers, you're used to them having build environments set up for you. CircleCI has a little bit of that. They have what they call orbs, which are pre-configured resources that you can use. And so it knows we want Node, and so it puts that orb in there for us. There are numerous other orbs. This is not a CircleCI sponsored video. It is not a CircleCI tutorial. This is just a quick getting started with continuous integration. What it's going to do, it's going to check out your code from GitHub. It's going to run an Npm install. Again, kind of like what we did. Then it's going to run Npm test. So the continuous integration is going to build your application. It's going to test it. Make sure all your tests are passing. It's going to let you know. We'll see how cool that is here in just a second. So once we get here, we're going to click the Start Building. Now, here's the other thing. CircleCI has gone above and beyond here. They say, you know what? We're going to help you out here. We know you don't want to have to go and copy this config, download it, install, or create a new branch, check it in, merge branches, all that kind of stuff. No. They're going to take care of that for you. They're going to create a branch for you. They're going to put this YAML file, which that's what this is written in, is YAML, add it, commit it, and now you've got a branch ready to go. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can add it manually. And again, you do not have to copy everything that they had on the screen there. You can download their sample config, add it to your project, commit it, and again, you're ready to go. But we're not going to do that. We're going to let them configure it for us. So we're going to exit out of that. We're going to click Start Building again, and we're going to click Add Config. Again, it's creating the branch for us in GitHub, adding the config.yaml file, committing that change to that branch, and it's running our tests for us. I just click Start Building. That, my friends, is amazing right there. So in just a few seconds here, this thing is going to be done. It's going to be tested. Again, you got to think, it's setting up an environment for us, pulling down those resources, pre-configured resources, the orbs, running an npm install, pulling that down, then running our tests for us. And as you can see, our build has succeeded. So let's head on over to GitHub and see what it's done for us. All right, I'm just going to run just a quick refresh here. I've done nothing else. No smoke and mirrors here. Click a refresh. Now you can see we've got 2 branches here. And we'll click on these branches. And so it's going to say there's our master branch, but here's this new one down here. This is the CircleCI project setup branch that CircleCI created for us. I didn't do that. Although you say it was done by Dev's Garage, that's because there is that link between CircleCI and GitHub using my account. Now there's another thing. There's a new little thing over here that you might not be familiar with, and that says check mark. And that is our tests. That is CircleCI running our tests, giving us feedback of whether all our tests pass or if we had some failures in it. So a quick check mark says, hey, that commit was good. I click on it, I can see all checks have passed. One successful check. We're good to go. I click on details. Guess what? It's going to navigate me to CircleCI to look at this. Who does that? This is just taking developer experience to the next level. Thank you, CircleCI. So that's it. CircleCI has done everything for us. They have made it such turnkey, such click and go kind of experience that I don't really have to write any custom code to get started with it. Now, as your code base morphs and grows over time, CircleCI will grow with you. Updates to that YAML file to express your new environment, whatever that might be, it's going to work for you and going to work with you. So don't be afraid. CircleCI is there to stay. It's not one of those, okay, great for the startup phase, and oh, yeah, we're a little more complicated now. We gotta switch to something a little more enterprise. No. They've got you covered there. You start with them, you can finish with them, no matter whether you're a startup, just in your early phases, or you're an enterprise organization of 100 years or so. They've got you covered. All right, you've seen how quick and easy it is to get up and going with continuous integration using CircleCI. So there's no excuse anymore, right? If you've got any comments, thoughts, I'd love to hear about them, so leave them down below. Also, if you want to talk about it, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over on Twitch. Link down below in the description as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell because you want to be notified when we drop that next video, because we're going to be talking about continuous deployment, rounding out that CI/CD pipeline and DevOps. See you then.